we're back post-show. Cosmotronic. It's all about the WildStar. And I have to tell you, right before we went into that break for the YouTube stream, which we do, you made the most awesome face. And I'm going to have to see about getting that into some kind of screenshot frame thing. Because it was just sort of this, kind of a face. It was brilliant. It was absolutely wonderful. Sing a song.
No, I will not sing a song. My guildies have decided to lurk.
You have lurking guildies, huh?
Yeah, I see. You know that feel. You know that feel.
My guild doesn't bully me. They are very supportive of the things that I do. Don't you foster a rich community in your guild?
Yeah.
Or is it because... Are you like the guild leader of your guild?
I am one of the council members of my guild. So where Enigma is run, obviously, you know, you have Miz, who is the be-all, end-all decision maker, but then below him you've got yourself. I'm not sure on the rest of the structure, but you've got the councillors below him, and then you've got your officers and all that. It's the three of us at the top, and that's myself, Icaria, and Chaos, who you might have met at the WildStar Town Hall a few weeks ago. And then below that, we've got some class leaders coming up for WildStar, and then below that we've got our standard hierarchy of members.
So the only reason why I ask is because one of the great things about, at least, with an Enigma with us is the fact that we do pick heavily on our guild leader.
Miz!
Oh!
He brings it upon himself, though.
Yes, he does. He really does. Yeah. So apparently, Ico, you bully your guild members. And apparently my husband is dying of laughter.
I like to believe that Immortalis Noctis, my guild, is built on a equal share of bullying everyone. So it's not bullying if everyone's bullying everyone. You see what I mean? It's equality. It's brilliant. It's equality at work.
Oh, that's interesting, because it means at some point in time on Campfire I'm going to call that into question, and you'll have to be on the show so I can, like, pick your brains. And for those of you who aren't familiar, Campfire is a new show coming out in the new year, all about guilds, communities, and things of the occult. But yeah, personally...
The green show.
It is the green show, the green Campfire.
It is indeed.
Cosmotronic being blue, Top Draw being orange, and Monday's podcast being purple, and then we have the green. Which is funny because I kind of classify it as Hellfire Green, or Balefire Green, is the way I kind of see it. So
it does have a very, the old Warlock Green sort of fire going for it. Yeah.
Well, to me it's Balefire, and I would throw it more towards the color I see in my head during things like Tremere throwing Balefire that happen to be Infernalists. So, when I think Balefire Green, I think that kind of a green. But yes. So, how many PvPers?
Very, very cool.
How many PvPers do we have watching currently? Who of you PvP? Or are really, really excited PvPers? Who be the PvPers? Vistum.
You guys are going to roll on a PvP server, right?
Yes, we are rolling on a PvP server.
Good.
Oh, really? Is this one of those we're back to the, INVE battle fight?
I mean, well, we're in the post-show now, so I no longer feel bad talking about it like we're wasting everyone's time with our own petty dramas, but now people are here of their own volition.
Oh. See, I like PvP. I do. It's just, I've been so inundated with all the different games out there that put such a heavy focus on PvP but not PvE that I got burned out in it. So that's why I'm really looking forward to WildStar's, I guess I would state, is a fresh take.
I think, and this is just my own opinion, that PvP is actually going to take a bit of a backseat to the PvE of WildStar. I don't think it's going to be bad. I think it's going to be very fun. I think it'll be highly competitive. You know, if the game balance is there to make competitive, and the community is there to make competitive, it will become competitive. And Carbine's stance of, if people want it and people sort it, we will then support that, as opposed to the trying to push it as an esport, is a much better way of going about it. However, with the amount of time and balance that you have to do to make a PvE structured raiding game and make that content decent, your PvP balance then has to suffer. And this is something that I've seen, I cannot place it, but said by Carbine devs in either AMAs or just general Reddit and WildStar Central discussions, where they've said, you know, there is a bit of a hit either way. And I think that WildStar will probably end up leaning more towards its episodic story and hopefully brilliant raid content, more so than pushing full PvP. Compare that obviously to a game like Aeon, where the entire game is PvP. Maybe not so much anymore, but the entire game was PvP. That's all you could do.
Well, see, that's the thing. I mean, in today's MMO market, there is more of a chance to find PvP MMOs than there is to find a PvE MMO. So, you know, for WildStar to tap into that PvE content, I think is very, very wise of them. I think what I'm really hoping, though, is because of the way that they're discussing war plots, what little information we get, I think there's going to be a lot more give and take between the PvE and PvP than there is in other things. I mean, in most MMOs, there's this dividing line. You PvE or you PvP. And yet with war plots and the way that PvEers can add to war plots, I swear there's got to be some way to do the reverse of getting something from the war plots to the PvEers. But because of that, there's this sort of cohesive working together thing between the two different camps, which I think is really, really awesome. And that's the kind of thing I'm really looking forward to getting more information about, which is why I'm sitting there going, give me PvP information. I'm really asking, give me war plots. I want to know more. But because of the fact that they are doing this sort of, you know, group benefit to each other, I don't think the camps are going to be as evil towards each other. And I don't think it's going to be as detrimental as some of the previous MMOs where you have that dividing line of you're either one or the other. You have gear for either one or the other, and that's end all be all. Your spec is either one or the other. I think there's a bit more flexibility.
PvX. I mean, if you've got the raw hours, you can do both to an infinite amount of time and skill degree, however you want to look at that. How do I say? Is it Oki? Ochi? Oshi?
Aussie.
I'm so sorry. Aussie, there we go.
Be careful, he's my boy.
That's a very good point. I think we've had the pleasure before. But yes.
You've had a chance to speak with him, but you haven't had a chance to meet him. And apparently, Ico's completely cut off. Like,
I don't have the... Am I?
Your sound disappeared completely, and it looked like you were...
You looked like you froze for a couple of seconds then.
We had a freezing moment. So go back and repeat what you had said.
Oh, God. Let's see. Yes, we've got different statistics. You know, we've got the raid level regeneration statistics that are going to be more about keeping you in the fight for a long period of time and keeping you efficiently pumping out healing, DPS, or mitigation, if you want to look at it that way. And then on the other side, you've got the PvP offense and PvP defense, which are going to directly affect the percentage amount of damage you're going to take or receive. Sorry, dish out or receive. So yeah, there is all the room in the world that, you know, they might get the nail bang on the head here, and they might have it so you can have a really competitive PvP scene without infringing on the PvE, and at the same time having a really, really difficult PvE without requiring too much of the PvP to be sacrificed to generate that. That's there. I don't think they'll get it first time. I think it'll be a long, long road of balancing and tweaking and back and forth. But yeah, no, you can definitely get it. When can you get it, though?
That's the thing. Trying to balance all of those things. I'm glad it's not my job.
That's why I think they'll focus more on the PvE side of it. But we never know. We never know. I mean, this is future casting here, but who's to say that we stay on Nexus for the next couple of expansion packs?
Well, we already
I mean,
know that there's going to be moons that we leave the Nexus for.
well, we've got Farside. Farside is a confirmed from the gods
Ah,
on
it is a
Wednesday. God knows
confirmed, but
how that.
Gaffney did say which one when he was asked about it in an
What just?
interview.
Oh no, no. Farside is the name of an asteroid, I believe, isn't that? I've also heard rumors of space stations and God knows what else, but I believe Farside is the name of one of the asteroids,
Ah,
that we
there's
can
just so
definitely go to.
much. I'm trying to remember where I read something, so I'm trying to find it before I bring it up because the last thing I want to do is bring it up and get it wrong, which is, entirely capable of something of me doing. Ba-ba-ba-boom. And of course I can't find it, so I don't want to bring it up.
Just a quick teaser image of. Can I open that? It's small and it's via. Actually, I think it's on the official page now. Yeah, Farside is a confirmed zone name of one of the asteroids, and it will feature lower gravity than Nexus will. But moving on to going away from Nexus, I mean moving away from Nexus entirely, the lore has already set up the ravaging of Arborea, which is your in-homeworld.
Mm-hmm.
It set up the quarantine of the Mordesh homeworld, which I can't remember the name of for the life of me now, I'm afraid. But from what I know, the Dominion Circle have completely encircled the Mordesh homeworld and pretty much blow up anything that tries to leave. And it's the exiles who are actually smuggling them off their planet.
Ooh, exciting.
So I think the game, in expansions could take you to entirely different worlds to talk out their story. So you'll see the PvP story actually be be valid as a story in itself.
Well, see, what I hope, one of the things that I got frustrated with World of Warcraft and PvP is the fact that even going back into Mists of Pandaria, where they were trying to bring the Alliance v Horde competition stronger into the eye because they wanted to rekindle that kind of animosity between the two factions. Nothing made me care about the opposing faction at all. Like, none of the
Wow.
quests made me think, wow, I have a reason to hate the opposing side. I kind of hope that, whatever is done on Nexus and however they present their storylines, I hope that they do a good enough job in the storytelling that I actually care about hating the Exiles if I'm playing Dominion, or I actually care about hating the Dominion if I'm playing the Exiles. So I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed. It's a difficult thing when they're just saying, you guys should fight because you should fight, or you should fight because your leaders don't like each other. That doesn't seem like enough impetus. I'm not an imperialist, I may not be the one who sits there and supports Thrall, or the person who sits there and
I,
supports, Sylvanas, or whatever. But, the
to be
reality
fair,
is...
I think the Dominion appeals to the imperialist inside all of us. I mean, especially of British. How can you not side with the Dominion? I know you are freedom fighting Yankee Doodle. I'm aware, so it
I'm a Yankee
probably
Doodle
explains
dandy!
it probably explains why you go exile and why you feel more inclined to exile.
I'm
But
going
that's
exile
great.
because my guild's going exile, and I'm gonna support the exile because of that.
You go in exile because you're a filthy rebel.
I'm a filthy rebel. No. And yes, Aussie, I am expecting engaging and motivating storytelling, mainly because I know some of the peeps who are working on the lore, and they have a bit of a history which
Pappy!
sits really, really well with me. And for those of you who aren't aware of it, I highly, 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 highly recommend reading my leveling guide, or my leveling article that I put up on MMOBuff, because it reveals why I really like certain storytellers. Yeah. And yes, I love Pappy. I am such a Team Pappy girl. I really am. I think even if in a PvP conflict Frosty, beats Pappy, I'm still going to be Pappy girl. And I'm going to blame it on the fact that Frost spends more time playing the game than he does writing the lore. Lore better.
Well, that makes sense though.
Oh.
Frosty's he's a designer. Pappy's your lawman. And I have to say I'm a bit of a lore hound myself. I mean, as much as I how I approach a new MMO, it tends to be that I'll get my first character, and he'll be max level as soon as humanly possible, so we can start doing content. Then my next character, for anything that I might have missed, will be more about going through and doing the completionist, checking out all the little nooks and crannies, and something that we're to expect in WildStar is nooks and crannies that will actually reward you for going and finding them. Not just, oh look, it's a sword in a wall from a different film, or it's Wolverine encased in ice, or something like that. You're actually going to go there and get a buff that might stay with you for an hour or two, and it makes you quite destructive in leveling. That kind of stuff, and that's really interesting that they're going to reward people for exploring just in general. I mean, they've done a lot to make Nexus this treasure trove of just bits to find, even stuff that quests won't take you to. So all of that is just amazing.
I just want open beta like now. Okay. Because then I don't have to sit here and go, can I get beta, please? I can just sit here and be all, everybody, you know what we're talking about now.
You have to join the WildStar Central No Batter Club.
No batter.
Yes, and it is spelled
Batter.
like this. No Batter.
Okay.
That is the No Batter Club for members like ourselves who unfortunately have not got batter. We see it so much in the channel, in the IRC. We sit in there on the Global Gamers Network. Thank you to them for hosting it. We sit in there and we talk WildStar pretty much most of the day. Some of the devs are pleasant enough to come in and join us, which is brilliant. But we see a lot of people obviously come through and they're just like, oh, can I have the beta key? Because they've only just found out about WildStar and they're so excited that they want to know everything immediately and they want to play it now. But when it's your 100th, 110th, 200th person coming in saying it, it's hard not to mock just a little bit. You try your very, very best. And from that has come batter.
Batter. I will join the no batter.
Please.
I will join the no batter.
Carbine, give batter, please.
Give batter, please. Oh, man. I tell you, when it comes to WildStar, I'm really excited. And as I will state this again for anybody from WildStar and Carbine who, periodically checks in on shows and things like that. I don't care how long you guys take to get the game out. Just make it right when you do. So if that means putting it off for another 8 months, I don't care. Just get it right.
We get caught up in our fanboyism quite a bit. Fanboyism, fangirlism, fanwomanism, fanmanism, I don't know what.
Fanchuaism. Fandeshism?
Definitely.
More dash? Fandash? No. Yeah, no.
Fancariism? No, it just doesn't work.
Facianism doesn't work.
I am down for a fry-up. If you can get it to me in about an hour, that would be ace, mate. Where was I? Yeah, we do get caught up in our fanboyism quite a bit because there's a lot to be excited for, but we also have to remember, the game is in an active beta state.
Yeah.
Things that we see, and they say it on every disclaimer for all the jokes that follow afterwards, what you're about to see is not a finished product.
Nope.
And it's open to a lot of changes. And from the gameplay footage alone of what you see, if you search back to the start of the year, or even around about, oh god, Rezzed, when was Rezzed? Was that June?
Rezzed, something along those lines.
Yeah, if you look back to sort of Rezzed PAX East coverage, and then you go and look at gameplay from 4 days ago, my god, the differences, they're just crazy.
It is absolutely massive, the difference. And the thing is, I don't think they're getting it wrong. That's the thing. We don't have any previous information about the medic to go, this is what's changed between now and when they first announced it. We don't have that. And I think that in a way that's kind of a good thing because it leads me to believe that they had an idea, but then they completely changed it. And that to me just strikes of people prototyping and people testing properly, of good design principles being enacted, and I really like that.
Yeah,
But
but no, I'm with you. Let it take as long as it needs to take. If it needs to be pushed back to summer, and I've not heard anything along those lines that it
I
would, but
haven't
if it
either.
needed to be pushed back to summer or quarter three, then let it happen as long as it's for the reason that the game needs the time and it just needs to
Right.
get there. Don't
Mhm.
release with it like, oh, we're going to get this after launch, this, because once you start making the after launch promises, the class and race combinations aside, because I don't feel that they make too much of an actual gameplay effect. That's more of a personal choice of what you'd like to play and what you can play,
Well, they
as
have
opposed to how
specifically
the game
stated they're
plays.
not going to add racials in. I mean, you're a bloody Chua. You're going to be tiny.
Hmm.
So, the reality is they're not putting in racial abilities, which I completely support.
As
Um,
Hell Blizzard says,
don't
don't
do
do
it
an
in
EA.
EA on it. Whoa!
I just think the moment you start, a dev team starts saying, oh, we want to get this after launch, or this feature that we had planned is now going to be in after launch, that's when it's almost like bargaining against yourself.
Yeah.
It's,
Oh, yeah.
you, I just feel, especially with MMOs, as Gaffney himself has said, there's such a big money risk in dev time, dev cost, and then the return you're going to get out of them. It's better to maybe have it cost a few million more and then not die after the first 1 or 2 months
Yeah.
than it is to maybe lose 10,000 early subscribers because they couldn't wait until summer. But, the longevity that you'll get, you might gain another 2 million people all paying their sub or buying cred and just pumping the game's economy along.
Well, see, that's the thing. I mean, in order for this to work, the content's got to be there. But, I'm waiting for the next beta report, that they bring out where they talk
Hmm.
about the things that they've learned or the lessons learned, so to speak, the changes that are being enacted, etc.
Should we?
I'm really waiting for their next beta report.
Well, we've had a very recent one. I mean, it came obviously through MMORPG and again through Gazimoff. By the way, we were not aware of any of this inside the MMOBuff team. He went quiet for a few days, and then out of nowhere we have reveals, everything.
That's
I
how
am just
Gazi
going to
works.
say, it is, and he'll tell you
It's
straight
just
to your
completely
face.
quiet. He's just like, I'm busy. I've got some things I need to do. The next thing you know, there's this like release on MMORPG, and you're just looking at it going, "You knew that, you evil man."
Yep. But he'll look you dead in the eye and tell you nothing's going on, and he'll do it with a voice just solid as stone, just not no quivering, no looking around. Just, no, there's nothing going on, mate. No,
But we
no.
do know that
Hours
Gazi
later.
is a Chua, so
Yes. Well, your opinion. He will roll the chewer, I believe.
I would be dead shocked if he didn't roll a Chua. I really would. I mean, to me, he is the epitome of a Chua in all ways, which is why I got him me a Chua.
Here it is. Though, as I now minimise this, I watched. Oh no, someone that hasn't posted it in chat, thankfully. That is the Gazimov Winter Beta Progress Report, obviously via Carbine, or
Mhm.
Carbine via Gazimov. That's well worth a read if you haven't checked it out already.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
on your terms of wanting the next progress report, I believe there's a stress test going on very, very, very shortly.
That's the thing.
Invites are everywhere. Reddit is apparently people have invites coming out of their ears, according to the WildStar subreddit. So
No beta.
we have a stress test coming.
No beta.
No batter club. No,
No
no
beta.
batter. But no. So if there's a stress test coming up, I'll be very interested to hear what the results of that stress test are. Because now,
Yeah. The
from my
thing,
memory, that'll be 3, 4 potentially now.
I still have the Spotify playlist for the original stress test that was created
I know
by.
not of this Spotify playlist. You
Do
must
you
tell me more.
not? Oh
No.
wow. There it was mentioned do do do. It was made by Craig Turner, and it's the WildStar stress test tunes, and it's got things on there like I'm so excited from the Pointer Sisters to Linkin Park, Burn It Down, to Queen, another one bites the dust, Disturbed, Indestructible. I mean, the names of the songs alone really lead you to believe this is a proper stress test. So we've
Yeah.
got Aperture Science Still Alive, The Final Countdown, It's the End of the World, We're Not Gonna Take
You,
It, When Doves
you're gonna have to
Cry.
no, you've gotta stop listing songs because I'm gonna accidentally sing one and we're on the internet and it's being recorded and I just can't do it.
Ah! Aw, but yeah, this was the stress test, and here's the link for it. It was made, and they posted it, and they said, "This is the stress test, or this is the music that I'm listening to for the stress test." And the thing is, I kind of think that's probably what's going to happen again. I hope so, because it's still something that I listen to on occasion when I'm kind of like no bata.
Well, we
But,
should also hopefully be seeing better results, or at least Carbine should be seeing better results from the stress test. I mean, it's now
It
been, it
should.
has been the third,
There
fourth one.
should be a huge difference between the oh my gosh, world is ending, and it should be a hell of a lot more stable, especially if they're looking at catering towards, pretty much the start of quarter 2 next year for the release of the game, end of quarter 1. That they, yeah, they've got to be at a good point now. They really need to. If
Hmm.
they're not, I'll be really, really, really shocked. But yeah.
Or at least to the point where now when they're burning, it's going to be sort of burning just above what they expect for their maximum server capacity. That's what you really want.
Well,
But
it'll.
the server capacity in WildStar, let's not go into the architecture because we actually have a piece somewhat in the works on that. And relating back to actually some earlier articles that I think Gazimov did for ZAM and at WildStar Wednesday by
Mhm.
lead technician, network engineer, uh, David Bass, Pyro.
Mhm.
He talked about the expandability and scalability of their servers and their systems, and it's not a fixed number like you'd expect it to be. There's a lot to
No.
go into there that I don't think I have the mental fortitude to tackle at 20 to
Well,
10 at night.
well. See, the interesting thing to me is, I didn't bring this up because I only found out about it today, but Eve did a big server explanation as to how they handle server load, and my
Mhm.
brain went through it, and from a fan person who's just really interested in how things work, it was interesting. From a technical standpoint, my brain went, 70% of the population isn't going to understand half of what is in this piece, because they start talking about CPU loads and they start going into deep, dives as to how you do the split, the architecture, and everything else like that. But stuff like that to me needs to be more public. Because that's the interesting stuff to me. It's not just the fact that I get to log in with my friends and play. It's the fact that I log in with my friends in a real-time environment, take down bosses that are being controlled by something while having something else control something else, while having, I disconnected, my game is still quote unquote in a saved state. All of that stuff fascinates me. It's sort of like back in the days remember when WoW used to do the resets, and you would be right in the middle of a quest and you get like kind of frustrated because you would think that the server's gone down, so you've lost the ability, or you've lost where you are in the quest, and yet it was you come back, you're like 100 yards away from where you were, because at the time of the shutdown the state that you were saved in was there, yet you still had all your quest items because a completely different daemon handled it. That to me was fascinating because it showed how separate everything was, yet it all worked together. And yeah, that was my first foray into this is interesting, I really want to know more.
There's so very, very much behind it that I won't even pretend to say that I can grasp it all. I mean, the experience you need to get to that level, you're thinking of cloud architecture in a way. You're pulling in different parts of different bits of processing power and different jobs from different machines. It's crazy.
Well, that's not
And
even
if it works,
talking
it'll be amazing.
That's not even touching into the things like the record locking that needs to go involved in anything involving a TSQL. Or, how do you handle the process loads and, the batch things that need to be run in order to keep things stable. I mean, how do you get it so that you, Ico, you run around and, I don't know, I'm going to pick on you and make you play a Mordash medic in my brain. And you're running around as a Mordash medic and you go forth, I know I'm totally picking on you, sorry, but you go forth and you perform damage and a crit, and yet while you're doing that, my client needs to pick up on the fact that you're doing it, the location you're in, where you're placing your telegraphs, and it's got to be done in a real-time situation. I mean, the reality is, it's just a bunch of ones and zeros. I mean, people watching us here, we're just ones and zeros. My voice is ones and zeros. My picture is ones and zeros. Everything is ones and zeros, and yet it's almost in this real-time thing. Yes, we know there is a delay, but at the same time, Ico and I are having a conversation like there is no delay. So, it fascinates me. The ingenuity behind human. That right there deserves a little bit of a wallop. But yeah, we're going on way too long, and we're starting to go completely and utterly off of track in every way, shape, or form. But still fascinating concepts, still fascinating topics.
As Mooble says, who is a web dev, by the way? So I mean, pot calling kettle black. We've gone nerd mode.
I haven't even started to get into the security implementations. That's like my area of expertise.
You knew what you did. You stood. I went, oh no, this is all above my head. I was trying to divert conversation. You went, you know what? I'm just going to go, what about record logging using Transact SQL? And just hope that no one understands it. And just
locking, not logging. Although logging is kind of important. Well, they're both important. And rollback features and stuff, but it's only because of the fact that I read that article on Eve today, and it was really, really fascinating. Sorry for making you people want to, like, I don't know, blow me up or something. What can I say? I'm not a Chua. I'm not even an Orin. I don't know what the heck I'm going to be, but I'll make a deal with you. If you actually make a character on the server I'm playing and can find me in the future when we go to play a WildStar, I will give you an opportunity to blow me up.
I don't need the opportunity.
Yes, you will. I'm not just going to walk up to you and be like, Ico, shoot me. Wait, no. Ico, heal me. Boil my blood. That's if you play a medic.
That's if I play a medic, we'll see. I don't know. I was leaning towards Stalker because I have always enjoyed the stabby, the stealthy, stabby. And then I started hearing rumours about the medic. Then I thought the medic was going to be this brawler, so I was kind of like, yeah, I'm going to play the brawler. I just want to get in and punch things in the face.
Ico's not violent at all.
I'm not a big fan of the sword. I think the sword gets in the way. Fists any day. And now it's a radiation zapper / medium to short range. I will have to see. I might end up actually being a stalker, in which case you won't even have to say, look, here I am. I'll just be behind you.
Them's fighting words. I still don't know what the heck I'm going to play. The thing is, I'm always been a healer in MMOs. I get the most enjoyment out of healing people. But I'm not going to make an assumption this time around, because every time I've gotten my hands on the game, Gamescom, Rezzed, every time I have done so, I am blown away at how different the playstyle is compared to typical MMOs. And this latest dev speak where they're like, we don't want you to have the UI mini game of clicking names to heal and stuff like that. It's changing things, and it makes me kind of go, well, maybe the reality is I need to avoid healing this time and focus on something else. But then I'm like, I can't do that, because if I notice my friend's taking damage, I don't want to trust anyone else to get their heals. And unless, you know, there's some kind of heal rotation set up, at which point I want to be a part of that. So I don't know.
I was a main tank healer for 6 years on a holy paladin, so you know all you did was main tank heal. You were the best main tank healer that ever has been, ever will be. I'm not sure about ever will be anymore, because they'll do the same thing. That's inaccurate. I don't play World of Warcraft anymore. I
do.
But I I had 6 years of the best way to heal was add-on healing. There was no doubt about it, unless you had some crazy
Voodoo,
Korean level
Healbot,
per minute.
Click, Grid, take your pick.
All, yeah,
All of the
exactly.
above,
Take
none of the
any
above,
of them.
yeah.
The ones I have most experience with were Healbot to start out, and then I went to Voodoo once Voodoo came around. I never really bothered with Grid. But all I would do, is you had your positions, you had where you had to be and where you didn't have to be, and then other than that, it was looking at the bottom right-hand corner of my screen, clicking the tanks' names, debuffing, just using my modifier keys to signify my clicks to do different stuff.
You know,
It was efficient, but I don't think it was engaging.
that's the thing. I play a lot of games with Aussie because Aussie and I have been playing games together for years, and yes, he is now a member of Enigma, which makes things even easier. But he's technically like my tank, whereas I'm like his healer, because we've just run around together for so long. But one of the things that I hear from him, and I'm kind of the same thoughts when it comes to playing WoW. I spend more time looking at green bars than I do the surroundings, because you have to pay attention to that. Whereas I am really hoping that when it comes to WildStar, because of the fact that you have to be so reactive, I'm spending more time paying attention to what's going on the screen than looking at my toolbars going, did I press the right button, or is that person's health going down to the point where I really need to heal them? I actually want to see the game. I want to experience the epicness of the game, not focus on the buttons, as the case may be. So I like the fact that there's a last for that.
I'm hoping WildStar allows you to do that. However, at the same time, you can easily see, and you can see it from when the devs are playing, where the focus goes now when you play. You're looking at the floor. Because that's where the important stuff is. The red is on the floor. So
but that's still looking at the game versus your buttons.
You're still looking at the game, but I've always found whilst you've got this, 22, 19, 27, however big your monitor is, screen in front of you, you tend to focus on a very limited part of it, so you might have your entire raid going on, but really all you're looking around is, that small section kind of in front of your character and the depth of your character for any dangers, and then every now and again checking around like you would when you're driving to see, is everything around you okay as well.
I don't know.
We'll see. I mean, I hope the balance is right and it plays much more like a single-player action game. So, where you're all very focused about what you're doing, what's going on, but you get a good split of where your vision should be. But it could go the other way. I mean, you could be that the biggest thing is don't be in the red, and in order to not be in the red, you need to be looking at the floor most of the time. We will see. We will see.
Well, see, that's the thing. I mean, if I take it back to, like, one of the experiences, I don't know if you remember the Trial of the Champions with the twins, the twin Valkyr. I had no clue what the twin Valkyr looked like until we got them down the first time. Because I was so focused on ensuring people's health was where it needed to be that I never saw what they look like. I never saw their animations, nothing. That, to me, is a very serious loss in a game.
See, I was luckier in that aspect, because playing as a Holy Paladin, there were a lot of fights, and my favourite of all time, Brutalist, God.
Well, didn't you just press one button?
No, well, I pressed a combination of keys and mouse clicks and different mouse clicks. That's what I did. That's all I did for 6 years. But being a Holy Paladin and being that healer, it tended to put me in a good position to see the fight. So, if I looked up, so I might be looking down the right, just clicking my healing bars. Everything's in control. I'm idly right-clicking Holy Light onto the main tank, who's nice and topped up, because mana's not an issue anymore. I'm a Paladin. I get mana back. Or at least that's how it used to work. So I got a nice view of the fight, but then when times came that mana wasn't so easily available, and maybe we're using, the buff of wisdom that gave you mana when you attacked an enemy. So what you'd actually do is park yourself next to the boss on auto attack, wailing to get like a % mana back.
Can you put can you judge wisdom, please, so that the priest can wand and get their mana back? Yeah. Oh, old skull.
All of that. I mean, I'd find then what I could actually see was about half a leg and heal add-ons over the top of that half a leg, and it was like, well,
Well, I knew a lot
this
of
is stellar.
tanks. I knew a lot of tanks who got really, really upset because all they saw of most bosses was the boss's crotch. That's all they saw, because that's all their screen would show. And that,
Just going
it,
onto what Visworm said then, he doesn't think there'll be a rotation in WildStar, not with the limited action set, because DPS will have to watch their aggro. The only way to pull aggro now is if the tank forget. Yeah, that's true.
that's very true.
Yes, the DPS will have to watch their aggro, but I still think you'll find a rotation. But what you'll be
I
doing is you'll build your LAS to build your rotation.
I kind of agree with that, but I kind of also disagree with that. Now, the reason why is because one of the key things that I noticed was the fact that it was really apparent to me at Res. Really, really apparent. And now keep in mind that was the first time I touched the game, was at Res. So, builds have changed, etc. And I spent more time talking with Pappy at Gamescom than I did playing the game because fangirl. Team Pappy. But anyway, one of the things that I notice is that because of the fact that you are constantly moving, because of the fact that you are doing things, it is not exactly a rotation. And it's not even the, first cooldown or what's the best thing out of cooldown kind of rotation that they've got going in WoW now. It's something else completely different. You literally have to make a decision of, okay, so I've just dodged this particular telegraph, but I haven't aggroed anything, so it's okay for me to use this particular ability. However,
Hmm.
oh no, I've just aggroed another group. I need to dodge to get a better kind of view so that I can lay down what is required for this telegraph or my telegraph to do the damage that's required. Otherwise, I'm wasting. I think there's a lot more reactionary playstyle. One could argue that the moment you start to get into raids and things like that, you get your rotations and everyone does your
Yeah, that,
rotations, etc. One
that's
could
what I'm
argue
thinking from.
that.
I mean,
But
I
honestly,
don't find that you
we'll
tend to use
see.
it. You don't tend to use a rotation when you're doing your solo stuff because nine
Mm-mm.
times out of ten, especially if you've gone DPS, normal solo enemies once you're geared, just they don't even stand a chance. I mean, WildStar might be different, but normally once
WildStar
you're geared, they
tends to
need to
have
not gear.
this. Well, see, that's the thing. I mean, we've seen that you get the credit for killing more than one mob, and we see the devs joking, "Go collect multiple mobs, go on, go on." The way that the world seems to be set up. I mean, this was my experience at Rest. Was the way the world is set up. You are literally at a point where there is no pulling one thing. Not really. It's like the world is set up so that you have more of an ability to grab multiple things and just take care of them all at one time.
I
And
think
that to me is kind of cool. Because it's no longer just the, oh, there's one mob, there's one ogre, shoot the ogre. Oh, there's another
I think
ogre, shoot the ogre.
you,
You know?
the idea is you can do that. I mean, if you want to do your one by one pulling, and that's how you feel comfortable, and that's how you feel safe, and you just want to not worry about dying, that's what you can do. But Carbine seem very intent on rewarding you for playing
Mm.
to what, well, playing better, playing well. So if you want to do crazy pulls and happen to run around and pull 18, 20 things, and then pop a very specific set of buffs and abilities and just murder it all, or very skillfully
Yeah.
chain them all together as you run round the pack, you're going to be rewarded for doing that. But at the same time, you also run the risk of dying and losing a ton of gold. So
Mm-hmm.
risk and reward as always, and it's good to see that they're incentivizing it in solo play because I'll be really cool. It'll be really cool to see where they take it when there's 40 people. I mean, is there a raid
Mm.
boss like say Yogg-Saron where you can choose to have the aid of the four guardians or go to the hardest version of the fight and have none? So will there be things like that? Maybe not. Actually, no, exactly like that. Hard modes via player choice in the instance as opposed to instance tiering. I know we
Uh,
sort of segued there, but that
that, that,
ability to make the fight harder on yourself in order to be rewarded
mm,
better.
I think the reality is when it comes to things like the raids, etc., we're going to have to wait and see. I mean,
Yeah.
just looking at Storm Talon, my reaction was, that could be a raid. because of the way the boss mechanics are set up. Because their very first dungeon that they revealed to us, which is like a level 20 dungeon, one of the first dungeons you get your hands on in the game, and it is what I would term current MMO raid level. That kind of tells you and hints of what's coming in the future. And that kind of makes me smile. Because that means we're in for a long journey. We are in for challenges. And we are in for what I expect to be, and I don't want to be let down here, but what I expect to be is some of the most intense, exciting PvE content in years.
I agree. I mean, now that I've migrated through a fair few new MMOs, I'm really hoping to find something that the guild that I'm in can't walk into and steamroll the content. And
That's
go,
what I want.
Well, now we're going to have to wait for a couple of months for the next patch. By that point, you lose a lot of people due to boredom because they're like, well, I've got gear. I've now actually done the play so much that I'm fully geared in your launch content. And you still want me to wait 2.5 months? And it's like,
See, this is why I think it's kind of nifty that they've gone with the 40-man content, because the reality is, even with the 40-man content, how long is it going to take you to gear 40 people? At a minimum, 40 people, because proper raiding guilds that do the 40-man type stuff usually have some kind of a rotation that has more than 40. Because, you know, if one person's sick and all you've got is 40 people raiding, that doesn't quite work. But how long is it going to take you to gear your raid team realistically? And the answer will come how many items drop off of a boss, for one. But then, you know, the promises they're making to us about PvE raid content imply that this is not going to be a walk in the park cupcake. And I'm really hoping for that arsenic to be thrown in. I want, and many of my guildies may or may not like this concept, but I want us to walk in and fail. I want us to go in and struggle, because that is, to me, where a lot of guilds find their greatest strength, is when they put their heads down and they go, this isn't working. And then all of a sudden someone says, well, what if we tried this? What if we did this? And then all of a sudden you see this, like, yeah, that works. Or people challenging concepts or preconceived notions like, oh, you need to be an epics to raid. Depends on the situation, and I want to see that. I want to see the challenge. If it's too easy, I'm going to get bored.
How you guys started raiding, as if you ever get Miz drunk or sat down, he will happily regale to you the times of how they did the mathematics on the lesson. You guys were under-geared for Zul'Gurub. You did the number crunching, and if you were putting out optimal numbers, you could do it, so you went and did it, because it was mathematically plausible, and you had the player skill to do it.
I want to point out, by the way, that I've only been a member of Enigma for like 8 months. So don't think that I was there. I just want to make that clear, because, you know, some people may think I've been with Enigma for years. The reality is I've been only with them for like 8 months, 9 months. I have found home.
That it's Enigma specifically that can do that. I'm just saying that the idea is that players, you know, if you crunch the numbers and you figure out you can do it mathematically, as long as you've got the skill, you can probably do it. But Carbine have come out, and at least for the launch content, they've said you're going to want gear from 20-man raiding to go into 40-man. So you're already looking at a tiered raid process. You're not looking at being able to do... how many 5-man groups now? 8 5-man groups, and gearing them all up, then going straight into 40. You're going to want to do 8 5-man groups. Then your guild's got to get itself organised to do 2 20-mans simultaneously, with hopefully simultaneous progression, so you get geared enough across the board to then amalgamate yourself into your 40-man raid, which can then go 40-man raiding. And God effing forbid that the next tier comes along and you have to break back down into 20 again, because that's going to be a nightmare. I'm hoping that once you've built yourself to the 40 level, you can just go into the next tier of 40, because otherwise it's going to be such an organisational nightmare. I can see people giving up in guilds, disbanding over it, having to constantly break down, come back, break down, come back.
If you are in a guild and you find yourself pressed by the fact that you are used to doing 40-man content, and now you've got to do 20, and you have to figure out some kind of organizational structure and need, come to the campfire. We'll help you out.
Nice.
Right. Now, I just realized we've been going on for like an hour post show, which is a very unusual thing for us, but it's a Friday night. It's windy. The power hasn't gone out. It's cold. It's chilly, and I've had a chance to
We clearly don't have any social life.
Oh, I have a social life, I'll have you know. I just have work to do as well. But it is WildStar, and I don't get a chance to always speak with Ico, even though we, both work for MMOBuff. Having the ability to sit here and hash out something that is obviously something we're both incredibly excited about, it's a rarity. So what I'm actually going to make certain happens is that this episode gets broken into 2 parts and thrown on YouTube, because we covered a lot of stuff at the end that I think is well worth us leaving up there for people to go back and look at. Besides, there are some predictions that have been made with UV me, Guild v Guild.
Prediction? Where is this prediction? I need to see this.
The prediction is that I am totally going to kick your butt.
Oh. Alright. No, I'm all up for the fight, but we'll see it when we see it, won't we?
Oh, we'll see it, and we'll stream it. Oh yeah, you and me, mono y monette, as I call it. I'm just challenging all my hosts.
When's
Team
that
Pseudo!
on Hearthstone?
It's the last episode of the year for Top Draw, and I can't remember what it's. That's when we're going to go at it. That's when I'm going to challenge him to a game of Hearthstone. But yeah. But other than that, let us end this. Let's send everybody off on their way. Thank you so much for showing up. Remember, follows all over the place, share us, etc. And get involved in the competition, because I want to send swag out to people, and I can't do that if people don't enter the competition.
Thanks for watching, guys. It has been great for you guys to have me, and for Pseudo for having me on, and great to talk to you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. And yeah,
it's fun picking on you.
We're wrapping up again. Everyone picks on me. It's just how it works.
I just pick on my co-hosts. That's the thing. The real fun thing is going to be in the campfire when I actually don't pick on people. It's going to seem odd. But apparently you're supposed to sing. Can you sing us out?
I can't sing us out. I just can't do it. Maybe if we were raiding and there was something and I was bored, maybe, but...
Suliko wants another interpretive dance.
I'll give you an interpretive dance. It's me getting up with a wireless headset and leaving the room. Ta-da! Ugh. How's that for interpretive dance? So I'm back.
Wow, right. So,
I am not singing Blip. If you post that whole picture, I swear to God, you will not get any loot. Like, ever. But yes, anyway, let's wrap up quickly before anything happens in chat. There goes Pseudo.
Toodle pip.
Thank you
And
for having us, guys.
this is MMOBuff, and Ico is now singing.